Hey guys, I'm Dov, and today I'm back with another Infantry Lord special. We've got QUEEK and his Assassin Bro together with the Council Guard here, and we're going to be taking them up against Hadra's Tomb Kings, so very interesting. I've got two Warp Fire Throwers here, protected by two Rat Ogres, Warp Lightning Cannon, and Plague Priest to give us extra bodies, a couple Clan Rat Spears, a couple of regular Clan Rats, and the Daddy Boobos with Slingers up front. As for the Tomb Kings, we do have a Skeleton Chariot, Nehekara Horseman out to the flanks, Screaming Meme Catapult, Cetra on a Chariot, super solid here, more Chariots, more Nehekara Horsemen, several groups of Carrion in Vanguard as well, which is a great pick. Vanguard are very strong here. Vanguard Carrion are very strong here. Carrion actually just are super strong in general. 46 melee defense for a unit of this price is quite good, especially for undead. 26 melee attack isn't amazing, but 40 weapon strength is also quite decent for a unit of this cost, so I'm a big fan of Carrion. Skaven actually don't have that many good counters, and you would expect those rocks to actually crush some of those Council Guard. But they in fact do not. You can see here fire going in. We're trying to take out maybe a couple of models of that Screaming Meme just so that we can maybe force it to crumble, but the Jezzails here are doing tons of work on this unit of Skeleton Chariots. I want to try and take these guys out at range if possible, so I don't have to use my Rat Ogres on them, but you can see the Carrion are coming in here. We're going to start squirting them with some of the hot boiling Mountain Dew, or, you know, insert whatever energy drink is sold in your country. Oh man. Unfortunately, it's not actually accurate enough to hit the Carrion very effectively while they're in the air. On the ground, it's a bit more effective, but I do end up roasting out quite a bit of my own crew here, which is, you know, absolutely the Skaven thing to do. But unfortunately, these weapon teams are going to be a little bit of a liability in this situation. A general engagement about to get underway here, but Cetra's in a bit of danger. He may not realize it here, but that Squeak Goon Squad is coming for him. You can see Squeak pops to the Verminous Valor. Squeak's on over here, and him and the Assassin are going to start to get some hits in, and with the debuffs, they will very quickly start to wear through Cetra. You can see just a couple of hits there did quite a bit of damage, so pretty decent stuff. Unfortunately, Screaming Meme coming in here, not too big of an issue, but we have managed to keep the weapon teams relatively secure here. Unfortunately, the Warp Lightning Cannon crew is getting chased off by some Carrion, which is not the best, but so far so good. Balance power still relatively even. Rat Ogre's coming in here to defend against the Carrion, and if I can get my weapon teams going, we might be able to make a push here. Likewise, we're going to use these Council Guard to come in here, try and block up these Skeleton Chariots. QUEEK and the Assassin also going to go out chariot hunting as well. They will be able to kind of do decent damage to these individual models and stuff here. The Clan Rats are not holding up super well, as no one would be surprised, but at the very least they're kind of wearing down this skeleton line. And yeah, the Jezzails and the weapon teams, though, are having a bit of a tougher time as the Nehekara Horsemen have started to break through. They have very good stats and will trade very cost effectively, even against the Rat Ogres, so it's a tough time at this point, but you can see Cetra's going to come back here, and the Assassin squad's going to try and come after him. The Assassin actually gets here. QUEEK gets a little bit bogged up, but that's why you bring the Verminous Valor, so that he can escape from these type of situations, get through, and maybe get some damage done. But Cetra's already taking quite a bit of damage. That's mainly what's keeping the balance of power so close. Clan Rat summons, I thought these guys would beat Skeleton Archers, but because of the fear and that nice little rear charge from those Chariots, they actually are not doing enough. I mean, granted, they're keeping those Skeleton Archers occupied at the very least, so we're going to continue to just throw Clan Rats at the wall left and right, because the Plague Priest still has plenty of mana and HP left. But yeah, you can see Cetra's in a bit of a pickle here, the trophy heads and such. He maybe could have gotten an attack on him when he just bumped into the Warp Lightning Cannon there, but he comes into this blob, and I'm going to try and block him up with the Chariot here so that QUEEK and the Assassin can get some reasonably good hits. Council Guard are starting to get worn down by this unit of Tomb Guard, though. It's not the best. Granted, the Tomb Guard are also getting a bit worn down from the Plague Priest and so on, but their high melee defense means that the Storm Vermin will actually have a reasonably tough time against them. But yeah, Cetra's suffering pretty badly there from that situation, and my two heroes still completely healthy, which is the reason that this entire field of mess over here is reasonably close on the balance of power, because my weapon teams are routing. I'm having issues keeping my Rat Ogres on the field as well. We're going to be able to maybe get some units back, but the Jezzails are having a tough time getting an open target. And yeah, it's just not the best situation over there. Over here, the Archers are starting to wear down the Plague Furnace, which is not the best for me. You do get a decent Plague Breath there. I probably actually killed more of my own Council Guard than anything else, but that's fine. QUEEK and the Assassin still reasonably healthy, and they can actually grind through a lot of low-tier Tomb King units. You know, preferably with support, but just they do quite a bit of damage, and both have reasonably decent stats. The Warp Fire Throwers are going to get a situation here where they can actually get some decent volleys against Skeleton Spearmen, but I'm still not super enamored with their damage. I think two, especially with having 3 weapon teams plus that expensive artillery to protect, obviously was just way too much. I really didn't have the resources to try and protect it, but we're going to at least try and get them. The Ushabti summon does come to try and finish off a couple of those. Maybe could have used it to try and finish off the Plague Priest a little bit, but at the same time, the squad here, QUEEK and the Sneak, as I like to call them, they are doing very, very well. Just starting to cut through the Nekesh's Scorpion Legion at this point. Granted, I'm keeping the Plague Priest back out of range of the archers as much as I can and just continuing to throw Clan Rat summons at them. Granted, Cetra is doing his thing, using the Chariot again to rear charge, get that nice fear going, and those Clan Rats really won't fight for long. Bless with Filth, unfortunately, isn't going to do much there, but yeah, QUEEK and the Assassin's still healthy, we'll see. The Warp Lightning Cannon crew, I did manage to squeak them through, and we're going to get back online over here. We've got some Rat Ogres with some Clan Rat Spears. Maybe we'll be able to finish off those Nehekara Horsemen, but you see what I'm talking about here. The Nehekara Horsemen just have such good stats. They trade extremely cost-effectively with Rat Ogres, especially if they don't get charged directly. Screaming Meme is still doing stuff, I'm sure, but just don't ask me what. And yeah, we're just trying to finish off Cetra if we can. That's really my last sort of trump card here, is that if I can finish off Cetra, I might be able to get a big leadership issue going with a lot of these lower tier Tomb Kings units and just grind it out. Also, without Cetra, I don't know if he can really cycle charge these two to death, but we'll see. There are a lot of Tomb King's infantry still, and especially these Nehekara Horsemen, these pesky Nehekara Horsemen, gonna get in on the Jezzails, which had rallied here. We're taking a few pot shots at Cetra, but Cetra's coming back to try and block up the Chariot. You can see my Assassin squad quick in pursuit there. Yeah, unfortunately it's not going to be enough. I popped the concealment bombs because I feel like I should, and yeah, Cetra's going to go ahead and rear charge these summoned Clan Rats here, so despite the fact the balance power is still pretty even, we've managed to make it reasonably close in the late game. It's still not looking great. We'll see. Cetra actually gets a bit slowed in here, and the Assassin and QUEEK do manage to get a couple attacks. But, oh man, that burst of light there just throws QUEEK on his back. Doesn't do a whole lot of damage, but we have one more summon, so we're going to keep that going just so that we don't hit too bad of army losses. And again, Cetra plays bumper cars with the cart, so we bring over the two lads to get it done. Nehekara Horsemen do manage to screen out QUEEK there, though. The Assassin did get a hit in. I don't think QUEEK did, but Cetra below 1,000 HP now, so we're still in this, maybe. Unfortunately, these summoned Clan Rats are having a really hard time holding their leadership together. The stand your ground definitely helps, and that Plague Breath right there just did a ton of damage, finished off a couple of units. Unfortunately, it could have been a little bit better placed, and it does end up routing off those Clan Rats due to the friendly fire factor as well. But yeah, anytime Cetra comes in to charge this thing, we're just going to hit him with QUEEK, get as many attacks as we can. Unfortunately, that time, the Skeleton Chariot manages to knock him over, but if a few RNG things had happened differently here, I might have been able to finish off Cetra at this point, but yeah, at this, you can see the balance of power starting to turn back as the summoned units do start to run out of steam there, and it's just going to be the heroic units left. The Plague Priest gets routed off by bumper cars and by the Nehekara Horsemen, just taking too much damage at this point. Cetra will be able to finish that thing off by playing bumper cars some more. But yeah, we'll just kind of keep it in cinematic as QUEEK and his Assassin make their last stand here for a minute. It does get pretty grindy towards the late game, so might start to fast forward here once the Plague Priest goes down. Actually, let's just get through it. The Plague Priest goes down, and yeah, you can see the Assassin and QUEEK, when they're separated especially, don't do quite as well. And QUEEK, just because he only has 42 melee defense, and I mean, when he's surrounded like this, he's taking hits from behind as well. Just death by 1,000 cuts, and his poor leadership. I mean, granted, Cetra charges in here and almost gets finished off at the end of the day. QUEEK just doesn't quite have enough. So a very good showing, though, from QUEEK and the Assassin, considering that my army picks were very well countered by Hadris. I mean, he brought a really, really competitive list, or what I would consider to be a competitive list, at least against the Skaven. All of these elements are quite strong here. I mean, the Skeleton Archers are actually pretty decent here because they hold up against most Skaven units reasonably well in melee. I mean, the fear is definitely a nice factor, and yeah, just having the archers in general is quite good. Skeleton Horsemen even are quite decent. Again, the mobile fear is just very, very good against the low leadership of the Skaven. But you can see from my hero squad, QUEEK not only can kill single entities, but he blends infantry as well. 94 kills on him, 49 for the assassin, 84 for the plague priest, not to mention all the summons. So, I mean, this heroic core is definitely super solid. As far as my build, I mean, obviously I already pointed out the weapon teams and the warp lightning cannon. Me and Hadros were talking after the game and just sort of theory crafting around a few things. And in terms of build, if I were to have brought less ranged units and just gone with a little bit more of a melee focus, I think it actually would have worked out a little bit better, just because it's tough to protect that many expensive ranged units against Tomb King Rush like that. I mean, Carrion, and I mean, they just have so many cheap units that cause fear, so it's very tough to protect these type of expensive ranged units. But I might go with something like this, just some extra Rat Ogres and the Flares. We're going to only take Natty Boobos. We'll get QUEEK in here and get him fully kitted up. I mean, the Warp Shard armor, I don't know if you really need this here, just because Tomb King's infantry isn't that great, but if you do manage to catch out a construct, the minus armor actually does help, and I guess against Cetra too. Since the assassin doesn't have the greatest AP values in the world, it kind of synergizes nicely with him. We definitely want the Council Guard as well to make the bodyguard unit, and then as far as the rest goes, from here, we definitely want some meat in the front line, so let's get Clan Rats. Let's grab the Slingers as well, just to put more bodies on the field for them to have to grind through. Obviously, we need the Plague Furnace as well. Plague Rash is okay. I don't like it quite as much as I used to, but for this, I would say Bless with Filth might be decent, although I might change it out for Pestilent Breath, just because I don't think... I mean, the thing about the Bless with Filth that's nice is you can use it on the missiles to debuff your opponent's speed on something like Cetra. Granted, I didn't really get a chance to do that, but yeah. With this, maybe you want to go with more of a melee-centric build, because it's, you don't obviously don't have as many missile units, so go with the Pestilent Breath maybe. And at this point, we could throw around a couple, I don't know, of regular Skaven slaves. But something like this, I think, might be pretty solid. The Natty Boobos are still probably going to force your opponent to try and approach you, but even if, you can't force them to approach you, like if they take a bunch of Ushabti Greatbows or just a heavy ranged build, you still have enough tools to punch through and really rush super aggressively. I mean, QUEEK plus the Plague Priest, you get in there with the Rat Ogres and the Flayers. I mean, the Flayers, if they get Cetra surrounded, they'll be able to keep them in for, QUEEK and the Assassin. Likewise, you can also kind of bait Cetra in, because on his chariot, he would actually be pretty good against these Doom Flayers. But of course, with their high mass, you can kind of lock him up and then use the debuffs as well. The Flayers would actually probably do decent damage to him, and yeah, QUEEK and the Assassin would, of course, as well. Typically, I would recommend layering the Assassin's Trophy and the Trophy Heads one after the other, but let's just double check here. I want to say that Cetra on the Chariot has enough melee defense that you should use both, but let me just double check that. He may not. It may not be super worth it to use them both at the same time, but on the Chariot, yeah, only 30 melee defense, so you really only need to use the one. I mean, granted, if you do use both, he's going to have 0 both in terms of attack and defense, but obviously on the Chariot, it's really his 100 charge bonus that's doing most of the damage there. So yeah, just in general, I think that I kind of mentioned in my video yesterday, the Age of the Footlords is upon us, and I definitely think that this is another Footlord combination that's super underrated right now and is potentially very, very scary, especially if you're not giving QUEEK the respect he deserves, because he is legitimately scary now, especially with his Assassin Bro. And of course, the Plague Furnace has always been quite powerful, still is, especially with summons and just being able to throw more bodies on the field and grind your opponent down. So I'm a fan of this core, probably going to be using this more going forward as a Skaven, just kind of trying to push the boundaries a little bit to see what we can really do with QUEEK. But very good game to Hadris. Like I said, a few key mistakes by me in terms of army selection, and I think that game could have gone the other way. Hadris himself was definitely surprised at QUEEK's performance there, so yeah, good stuff. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this battle. If you do like this sort of content, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification button, so every time I upload a new video, you'll be notified. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time.